Hey guys, what's up? So this is our 12th Android tutorial, Xamarin.Android. And in this tutorial, it's pretty exciting. We're going to finish up our uh, sliding tab navigation system, okay? So this one's going to be pretty quick, a lot quicker than the other two, since we do have the bulk of it done. But I do want to point out that we did get a few errors when I did rebuild. I should have done that last tutorial, so sorry about that, guys. But I did rebuild, and I got a couple errors, and that's just some simple ones. I forgot the D on the indicator. So remember that when you're implementing a method or a interface, then you have to make sure that the methods are exactly named the same. And Visual Studio will take care of that because you can do implement uh, explicitly or just implement the I guess implicitly the methods that are required. And I didn't do that, but that's always a way that you can get it. You can do it without being worried about any errors or anything like that. So sorry about that, guys. But that's one, and then color should be just color. Okay, so just in case you guys were following along to the T, uh, there's a couple of things that you want to fix in your source code, and I'll make sure that the project is bug free and works entirely. So when you download it, it's all good to go. But just in case you were following along, just make sure you fix those couple typos. And once again, sorry about that. So, okay, let's go ahead and create our view. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to create our fragment. Okay, and the fragment is going to instantiate both the view pager and it's going to hold the view pager class that we're going to make a custom class of. Okay, so let's do that now. Let's do a fragment, and we will call it sliding tabs fragment. All right. And in this fragment, we're going to do a couple things. The first thing we want to do is get rid of this thing because we're going to use actually the onCreateView method. So we're going to override onCreateView. All right. And then in this, we're actually going to use the inflator that's passed into us over here. Okay. And we're going to use its inflate method to inflate our custom layout file. Okay. So the layout is, this one's really important because this is the one that holds this fragment underscore sample AXML file. This holds our scrolling tab layout. Okay. So this stuff's already supplied for you. I'm not gonna go over it too much, but if you look inside of here, which is the guy we just inflated, here is our sliding tab layout tutorials dot sliding tab scroll view. Okay, so this is the view that we have custom made right here. Okay, so it's very important. So we don't instantiate it ourselves. We let the view instantiate it. So when it's inflated right here, it will go into here and it'll do all of its stuff. So it'll automatically call this constructor, and then remember this constructor calls the 3-parameter constructor, which we handle everything right here. Okay, so that's what's going on. Just a little 101 on what's going on there, and that's basically, yeah. So also, just so you guys know, the way that you do it, when you do make a custom view, it has to precede, the class name has to precede the the preceding namespace has to be included. Okay, so this is the namespace that it's in, and then the class. Okay, and then that's how you reference it in the AXML code. All right, just a little FYI there. Okay, so the next thing we want to override in our fragment is the onViewCreated. So this one calls after the view has been created, or the view being created. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And we're going to want to, first, before we do that, sorry, we're going to want to have two classes, two objects. Okay, so the first one's going to be the scroll view. So this is going to be our actual scroll view. Okay, tab scroll view. And then this one's going to be our view pager. Okay, the view pager is what we reference a lot in the actual scroll view class. All right, if you remember. And here is where we're going to grab the reference of it. So, we need to import it. Sliding tab scroll view equals, make sure you do view dot find view by ID. Okay, and we want to give it to the generic class, and we want to grab its ID, which is sliding tabs. Okay, so now we have a reference of it in code, and it's already been constructed by us from the XML file. And the next thing we want to get from the view is our view pager equals view find view by ID, grab the ID, which is just view pager. Okay, so these are both coming from this view right here. Okay, so that's all that's coming from. Now that we've inflated it, we can grab its views. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to instantiate basically the view pager. We want to set it. So a view pager property, we want to set our view pager that we've just created. Okay, so this guy, let's go into here. Remember, this is right here. So it instantiates this, and then it removes all the views, and then it sets all of these events that we've already implemented here. Okay, now I do notice that right here, remember our populate tab strip? This is where we should have called it. So let's call it, okay? I guess we've implemented it, but I forgot to call it, okay? Which makes a function useless when you never call it, right? So I just noticed that coming over here. So make sure you add that in. That will populate all of it and add all of our tabs to our tab strip, okay? So once that's done, then we can do the adapter. Yeah, so the next thing we want to do is we want to set our, before that we want to set our adapter. And so we do a new sample pager adapter. All right, so that's going to give us an error because we don't have that yet. So let's make that. Let's make a class sample pager adapter, and it's going to inherit from pager adapter. All right, so we're going to want to, this is going to be our actual page. So this is going to be this guy right here, right? Let it load. And then every page is going to have this view with a different parameter, like it was page 1, page 2, page 3, and so on. So here's where that's done, okay? So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make a list of items. And they're just going to hold strings, okay? And these are going to be our headers. These are what's going to be the title of each tab. So let's make a constructor. Call it 0 parameter base constructor. And here's where we'll add some stuff. Okay, so we're going to add a whole bunch of stuff here. All right, so we'll do a few things. We'll do like remember it was Xamarin, and then we had items.add Android items.add tutorial. So just adding, here's where we're actually physically adding tabs, okay? Because remember, it'll return a count, the adapter.count, that will return, which will be sent from here. So however many items there are will be how many tabs. All right, hooray. All right, so there's that. So the next thing we want to do is, that's exactly what we want to do, is we want to override the count method. All right, and we'll do that here. Return items.count. All right, so we'll step through that right now, but that one's really important as well. Override is view from object. This one, all we need to do is, that one's kind of weird. Let's change that to obj. And it's just saying, is this view coming from the actual, is this object coming from, is this view from object? And we just need to return a Boolean that returns that, okay? And the next thing we want to do is we want to instantiate, or override instantiate item. And there's two. Notice that there's two with two different signatures, okay? one with a view group type and another with a view. And we want to override the one with a view group, okay? So make sure you click that one, because before I clicked like view and then I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I forgot that there was two methods that you can instantiate or override. So just don't let that trick you. So we want to actually inflate the view, okay? So from that we can get a context, all right? And then now that we have the inflator, we can inflate the layout, all right? Which is our pager item, and the root will be set to false, all right? And oh, I'm sorry, the view group is a container, and we don't want to attach it to the root, all right? So then we'll add the view, and then there's a text view inside this view that we want to set its text. So find view by ID, it's a text view. And item title. And this is basically the pager item is this guy over here. So we've inflated this whole view, and now we're grabbing the text view right here, which is this, and we're going to set its page, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's all that we're doing right there. Okay, so here's the text view that we just that I just showed you, and first we got to get the position of it, so we'll do position +1. Okay, and that's +1 just to get rid of the 0 indexing, so it's not page 0, it'll be page 1. It'll make a little more sense. So and then we'll do pos.toString. All right, and then finally we'll just return the view. All right, next thing we want to do is we want to override a method called destroyItem, and destroyItem also has two different same methods with two different signatures, and you want to make sure you override the one with the view group. Okay, and all you want to do is just do container dot remove view, and let's change this name to obj, and we want to remove the view. We know the object will be a view type. Okay, so that is where we can simply, it's not letting me do it. Come on. Okay, so it'll let us cast it and then remove the view. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to add one more method, and we're going to add our own method that's called, it'll be a property actually of get, it'll be get header, or it won't be a property, I'm sorry, it will be a method that will take in a parameter, and it will be called get header title. Okay, so it's just going to get the header, it's going to get the title for that tab's position. Okay, and all it's going to do is going to return, so it's going to get the items, and then depending on the position it will return the corresponding string. Okay, so if it's the 0 tab, it's going to return Xamarin, or if it's the second tab, it's going to return Android, you know, and so on. And that's all it's doing. And that guy's going to get called actually over here in the populate tab strip method. Okay, so let's go find that populate tab strip, and instead of actually setting it, remember we set this just to i.toString, which is just like 0, 1, 2, 3. We're actually going to do, you know, we're actually going to get the title from it, because now that we have that method. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to want to cast it, the adapter type. Okay, so sliding tab fragment dot sample pager adapter, and then we want to cast the adapter, get header title, and give it the position. Okay, and we want to cast it because right now it's just a normal pager adapter, which is its base type. So we want to downcast it to the its subclass. Okay, and we can change it over here, but I just decided to cast it. Okay, and then that'll get its appropriate header title, and then give it the text to the actual tab. Okay, so that's all done, and I believe that finishes up our our fragment. All right. Now let's go over into our main activity. And here we're actually going to instantiate our fragment. Okay. So after setting the view, which we've already done here, and we have main over here, like I said, the project will be attached to this video, so go ahead and feel free to download it, and then just add the corresponding stuff like this PNG, and then this overflow PNG, and then the fragment, AXML file, the pager, just some few stuff. But I just want to focus on the code because that's kind of mainly the hard part and the stuff that I think that it's a little less trivial. So we'll focus on that because the AXML stuff is pretty straightforward. So we want to make a transaction, and this is how you instantiate a a fragment. Okay, so we want to create a transaction, and then so get the fragment manager property, and inside that property there's a static variable or static method called begin transaction that takes no parameters. So go ahead and call that, and then we will grab a reference, an object of type sliding tabs fragment. Okay, call it whatever you will. I'll call it fragment equals new sliding tabs fragment, takes no parameters, and then we'll do transaction dot replace. Okay, and we'll replace this view sample content fragment with our fragment view, and then we just do transaction commit, which we want to do it. And all this is doing is just replacing this view, this part, with this fragment. And this can be found inside of the main AXML file. So if you go into here, I can see a little better here actually. So it's a frame layout, right? And all that frame layout is just this whole view, and it's replacing this whole view with that. Okay? So that's what it's doing. Replaces that with the fragment, and then the fragment holds the pager and it holds the tab layout, the sliding tab layout, and that does all the rest for us. So let's go back into our main activity, and we just need to override one more method, which, if you guys are familiar with the way you inflate the action bar, then this should be pretty common ground. Use a menu inflator, inflate, and we want to grab the menu action bar, give it menu. Okay, and that's just using the action bar. So that gives that overflow of the 3 dots, this thing right here, up on the top right. Okay, so that's just how you do that. I'm not going to add any kind of like conditions or any events to it, but just gives it a good look. So that's how you do that. And let's go ahead and build it and see if we get any errors. Hopefully not. Cool. Okay, so we are in the green. Let's go ahead and run it. Drum roll. It's been a lot of work to get this going, so let's see how it looks. Cool. All right, so let's see. All right, it's working as expected. We can scroll in the tabs, select them. Awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. All right, I hope you guys got to this point. I hope you're excited, because I'm excited. This is really cool. I can think of 1,000 cool things to do with this. I mean, this can be the foundation of a great application that will allow you to let your user just navigate really easily. I can imagine just different genres. If you're doing like a I don't know, like a restaurant app or something, this could be, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or you go to your dinner and, like burgers, salads, wraps, and all the, like a list view of a whole bunch of stuff, for each one, so just so many things you can do with this, and it makes the user, really happy that they can just navigate through stuff really easily, and it looks great too. All right. Cool. Then the last thing we want to do is we want to set the action bar, or I'm sorry, the yeah, the action bar to green. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And you do that inside of your themes, which we already have right here. Okay, so this theme will be supplied, and I'll also put it in the manifest automatically, but I wanted to show you how to do that. So we want to actually apply this theme to our entire application. So the way you do it is just do Android theme, and then it's at style custom action bar theme. Okay, let's go ahead and run it and see. So there should be a green action bar now. Cool, looks really, really nice. All right, good to go. And like I said, you guys want to change the colors on these. There's indicators, you know, I showed you where to do that. That's pretty simple. It'll blend nicely for you to do that. So let's kind of walk through this, just to take a minute out to walk through it. You know, I mean, if you guys are already familiar with it, then cool. But I like to take a walk through it and just make sure we get orientated. So this thing gets called, and it basically makes a fragment of type sliding types fragment. Okay, so when it does that, then it replaces it with this. But before it does that, fragment comes in and it gets instantiated, right? Which comes into here. Oops. And on create view, it inflates its view, which is basically the pager and the sliding tab layout that we create. Okay, it's the whole thing that we actually see in this case. Okay, so then it comes in here, it grabs a reference to the sliding scroll view, and then it grabs a reference to the view pager, and then it takes its adapter and sets it here. And we have a custom adapter that makes these tabs and returns the account. And that's important because it's used right in here, adapter.get count or count. And this is in the populate tab strip and this scroll view, right? So this gets called, and this returns the count of how many items are in that list of string, and that's how many tabs are going to be created. So that's really important to make sure that that's correct. You know, we can go back and we can put, like, you know, 45, and it'll do 45, you know, and it'll make that many tabs, and it's gonna give an error because it's gonna try to get the 45th 37th index, and there's not an index for this, and it's gonna just crap on itself, you know. So but anyway, that's important. And then after it does that, it goes into the sliding tab scroll view, which it instantiates by itself, right? And then we set that over here. We set the view pagers in the sliding tab scroll view. We set the view pager. So then now it goes into here, and then it adds the view pager, and it sets all of these guys, populates a tab strip. Okay, so that's all done. Let's see what happens. You know, I like to kind of mess with stuff. So let's see what happens if we don't subscribe to any of those events. We don't even populate it. We should still get a tab layout, but it shouldn't scroll at all. Okay, because page scrolled and all these events are never getting called. See, so it's scrolling, but this never gets called, and that's key because this needs to be called. And because when this is called, remember the on viewer page change is called, which invalidates the tab strips view, which forces it to draw itself all over again with new parameters. Okay, so just a little test right there, and that's all these do right here. They basically call this guy, and then they you know, this gets called. This invalidates the whole view, which then forces on draw to be called. That slides that indicator and blends the colors depending on what the colors are, which, you know, we can change up here, and yeah, all the way up here we can change the colors. We can add another color. You know, we can add like 0x you know, something. Let's add like, well, black, you know. So now when we run it, it should be green, blue, black, green, blue, black, and so on. So it's green, there's blue, there's black. It should go back to green. Okay, so just kind of a little bearing right there of where we are and why is everything working together the way it is, and how everything is really imperative to the whole workings of the whole application. So awesome. And if you guys, we can go farther, and if this is what you want to concentrate on now you want to come into here and actually make a list view or something, and actually this is the inflation that you're going to want to work on now. This is the actual view that the user is going to be interacting with, after they've switched over the tabs. This is the view that they're going to be interacting with. This is just the page number, and it doesn't really do much. It just kind of gives an example, but here's where you guys would want to begin and start making some cool stuff. So that's pretty much it. So we are a go. So that was really exciting. I'm happy with it. If you guys need anything, just feel free to leave some comments. I really like to see you guys' comments, and thumbs up if you guys like, and it really makes me feel good. So if you guys have anything you want to share with me, show me some apps that you guys make, that'd be awesome. If you guys have any suggestions on some other things that you want me to look into to try to show you guys, and maybe I'd be familiar with it already, so I can put a video out really quick, then feel free to put some comments on, and just kind of collaborate. So it'd be really cool, because I'll start to run out of ideas, and just like, oh man, what should I do now? Or maybe this is too easy. Maybe I should do something a little harder, a little more useful. So yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and feel free to comment below. And I hope you enjoyed these few last tutorials on this sliding navigation UI. So it should be a really useful thing to implement in your own application. All right, thanks for watching, guys.